Welcome to Caching Waves. This is your Elliott Wave update for MANTA. Now, before I get into this, I just wanted to do an evaluation of what I was looking for a couple weeks ago. And that was this potentially being a C wave high. I entered a short from this high as a diagonal, looking for this to collapse to the downside. Now, looking back to where we are now, did get that all the way. Got a huge collapse. I closed my trade around 277, which was the 2.382 extension of this first wave off the second wave. And I was looking for an impulse to the downside if this was a C wave top and looking for lower lows. So didn't quite get the pattern I was expecting off that high, even though we won the trade right to target. I see this more as a complex correction, as a WXY, where we had zigzags and most likely a flat here. We had ABC X right here and another ABC. Now on that scenario, if this is our W wave, we had a short X, we came just shy of the 1-to-1 extension, which was at 236.74. But based on what's happened since, my assumption is the bottom is in here. And we have a three-wave pattern complete. Now, if you're stretching on this, you can get a diagonal out of it, but I prefer the three-wave count here. It fits better based on the guidelines and the extensions it hit. So as of right now, I'm not in a trade in this one, but I am looking to potentially take a scalp, but we're going to be focusing on what happened after the low here. Now, just to re-educate some things on this one, there is a higher high on multiple different exchanges here, and then we retrace back. I was focused on this area just because it had a nice clean count, and this was the exchange I was trading on. So saw this as a diagonal complete and was looking for the short after the fact. Now, if this is a C wave high rather than a three wave A, we would expect this to correct a little bit and then keep pushing to the downside, and this whole project basically collapsed pretty ugly, unfortunately. Or if this is a three-wave correction to the upside and we're actually making higher highs, this would most likely be an A wave in three in a larger correction to the upside. So that's what we have to kind of figure out and navigate through trading wave by wave. So off the low, I analyzed this a few different ways. This is the best fit for me as a zigzag here, ABC for our W wave. We then had a expanded flat as a WXY. You can see we came right between our B wave or X zone, and that is the extension from here between the 1.236 and the 382, in which case we'd expect a pivot, and we made our three-wave correction, correcting this entire three-wave move. So if that is the correct count, now we have an impulse to the upside, it looks like. We expect this to move correctively to the upside and make a matching wave of this W wave for our Y. It gets very complex in these areas, I understand, but it's important to pay attention just to structure breaks and where the count becomes invalidated. Now, I called this a W for a specific reason, and that is that we didn't come back past the 70% of this three-wave move. If we did, I would call it an A wave and expect 5 waves to the upside. Since we didn't, if this pivot holds, I expect a complex correction in 3 waves rather than 5. Now, I did consider the fact that this could be a diagonal. The issue with that is I'd have to have the diagonal end here. And the reason for that is guidelines. You can see the speed of this wave, and it would fit better if it was this wave. And then this would be our diagonal as a wave 1, 2, again having that expanded flat as our wave 2. So that's my alternative. it could have gotten extended and come all the way here. And that could be our wave 1 and 2. And if that was the case, again, I don't like how long this fifth wave took. It should take less time if this is a diagonal than the previous waves, right? Just slightly less. I mean, it doesn't go against rules. I'm just going with the look of the entire consolidation here. And this, I think, fits best. And we have completed a correction here. Now, if we make another low, I'd say, okay, then chances are the diagonal is actually this one here. And this would be making an ABC, currently in an expanded flat right here. Like we saw on Dog Whiff Hat. Remember that expanded flat where a 5-wave move looks like we're going for our long and then it just retraces? It would most likely be this was a expanded flat. And then we come down. And that's actually an A, B, C. So just keep that in mind. If we fail, I'd be looking for a long again from this area. Stop at the low, targeting the 1-to-1. Okay, I'm trying not to confuse things here because I understand it can be quite confusing. So if this count is correct and our X wave is in, we would be expecting something like a flat. We got a zigzag here. We would expecting some other correction than a zigzag. We can get a zigzag if it ends up being a very large flat, but I don't want to overcomplicate things. We're looking basically for a 3-wave move to the upside off our X wave here. Target for the Y wave on the larger correction, which is here, 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 is the 1-to-1 extension, which is at $3.23.33. That's the 1-to-1. Now we can get extended to the upside between the 1.236 and 1.382. But for trading purposes, that's as high as I would want to take my profit at. Lost my chart. Okay. And once that comes into play, that's what I want to talk about here. So if we get this Y wave in a 3-wave move, potentially as a flat, what would we expect to happen after? Well, first of all, if my labeling is correct and this is a 3-wave move, then this opens up to the possibility, once we pass the 70% retracement of this entire move, that this is a 3, 3, and then we come back down and create our flat as an ABC, 3, 3, 5, like so, and we keep correcting to the downside. That is my current view because this does not look impulsive whatsoever. It looks corrective, unless, once again, this is a diagonal to the upside, but it seems very unlikely to me. Goes outside regular guidelines. Again, unless this is a very extended out 5th wave compared to this 3rd and this 1st, I'm going with this as my primary. So knowing that, is there a trade available? I believe there is. And how that will look to me is looking for our standard retracements. $56.18. It's my standard retracements here. This could be a 5-wave, looks quite extended. I'd say it's more likely a impulsive looking correction. See if it hit the 1-to-1. Yeah, at about the 1.236 right now. It'd be a very extended 5th, or most likely just an ABC on the micro count. So what I'd be looking for personally, if I were to trade this one, there's better trade setups out there. I'm not going to take this one for what it's worth. I'm not taking this trade. But if I were to take it, I'd buy between the 50 and the 618, stop at this low of the Y wave, targeting the 1-to-1, assuming the low is in. That would be about a 3-4 to 1 on a quick scalp, and it should take about the same amount of time as this wave to play out. So if you're keeping track of time, you'd take this W wave, put it off our labeling for our X wave, like so, and you'd expect it to get there. Put that in green. Minimum Thursday the 15th, and it could extend out and take a little bit longer. That's what I would look for, and at that point, I'll probably be interested in a short position, unless something changes on this wave count. And if we fail here, I would relook at this count and consider the fact that maybe this is a diagonal, and this is just our A, B, C, and we're getting a deeper retracement, and then I might take a long, depending on the waves and how they fill out, because that would be a very good risk reward if we're actually correcting to the upside above previous highs. All right, I hope I didn't overcomplicate things on this one, because it is very difficult when you're in WXYs at the bottom of a 3-wave move to get my thoughts across. But the important thing is, if you're trading this, first stop needs to go at this low because it's considered complete. And if it fails, the next trade entry is this stop. And right now targeting $3.23.33. If this count stays intact as is, as a WXY. All right, guys, that's it for Manta. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.